Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us on another edition of the Long Coffee Break. My name is Bill Roan. I'm a senior sales engineer with Long, and today we are going to be talking about total disinfection technology. We are lucky enough to be joined by Douglas Bozema, Vice President of Global Sales with AtmosAir. Thanks, Douglas. With that, I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you to Long Colorado, especially Bill, for putting this together and inviting me to talk to you briefly, and I promise it will be brief, not the normal 117-slide pitch deck about AtmosAir and how we see air differently. Just before we get started, please excuse any coughing or anything during this presentation. I've come down with the dreaded dad cold from one of my kids, so just advance warning on that. Now, as Bill stated, AtmosAir is a total disinfection technology. So what does that mean exactly? Our mission is to make the environment we live in cleaner and healthier than how we inherited it. We do this not only by drastically improving the indoor air quality within the treated space, but also disinfecting all of the surfaces in the space with the same revolutionary product, a claim that almost no other technology in our space can make. Before we get into the how, let's first see a little bit of our history. AtmosAir has been around for over 20 years and has been installed in every vertical imaginable, from medical facilities, government installations, hospitality, education, professional sports, even casinos, just to name a few. Our primary place of business is in Fairfield, Connecticut, with a handful of satellite offices in the US and internationally. Through our partners and our internal sales team at AtmosAir, we have a global presence with representation in every major market. Now, we all know that there are supply chain issues, which quite frankly can't be avoided. However, it is important to note that we have all of our products manufactured here in the United States, which minimizes any disruption that can occur. I do recommend at your leisure watching the videos that are embedded in our presentation, and Bill can distribute this presentation to you if you wish. And also clicking on the other numerous links within the deck, which will give you access to the testimonials, case studies, and other use case scenarios. Furthering our environmental mission, we are playing our part on a global scale in reducing the carbon footprint as it pertains to indoor comfort. We do this by utilizing smart technology that controls the levels of ionization that is being produced and allowing our end user to reduce the amount of outside air being brought into the facility, thus reducing energy consumption. Later on in this talk, I will articulate for you how we accomplish this and how that can be factored into all the applicable programs for you to be able to obtain or transfer energy credits on to your clients. As we all know, there are a litany of IAQ solutions out there, so why AtmosAir? Obviously a question we get all the time here at AtmosAir. The answer is actually quite simple, as we have a fully patented solution that has been tested over 100 times in a myriad of environments under some of the strictest testing parameters ever conceived. Outside of the traditional third-party accredited lab testing, we've partnered with Hygienia, an ISO 9003 company, and EPA-sanctioned technology to provide instant in-person testing, which is also coupled with our continuous IAQ monitoring, which gives data point readings every minute, all the way up to an hour, monthly, however often you want it, and that frequency. This form of testing allows us to show in your space the real-time efficacy of AtmosAir in as short as a 30-minute meeting and beyond. Please keep in mind, we will swab anything you request as long as it meets EPA testing protocols, as we are that confident in the capabilities of our total disinfection technology. This is something that only one other technology in this space is currently offering, to our knowledge. Finally, our customer service team is second to none, with prompt responsiveness and rapid distribution of our products from our warehouse, which ensures timely maintenance and deployment of new installations. This is because we've spent a large sum of capital to keep inventory of our SKUs and don't need to wait for the product to be made when it is ordered, unless it is a custom solution. It's very important to note that not all ionization is equal either. Our patented DBD, dielectric barrier discharge ions, last upwards of 5 minutes within an occupied environment compared to other technologies that are out there that can only last for on average 15 seconds. What this means for you is that we are an active technology within the space and not passive. This approach means that we are able to mitigate any environmental threat as it is introduced into the environment. Basically, think of a prophylactic for a building, as opposed to waiting for a contaminant to pass through the HVAC system, hoping it gets caught within the filtration and then is neutralized. This is why AtmosAir will not only do sample collection at the source point to validate its technology's effectiveness, but also throughout the entirety of the space to ensure that we are effective and that there is no dead zone within the occupied space. We've heard from our clients and potential clients that our competition will test within 1 meter or 3 feet of their technology to prove that it's functioning. And this is just simply because they know the limits of their product and how long their product actually lasts within the environment, which is why you will need substantially more units compared to us to achieve the same level of coverage within the space. Data, as if you couldn't already tell, is the lifeblood of our technology. It is the only way to show that the technology is functioning, as I've been stressing so far. At the end of the day, you and your clients have an invisible problem and we're providing an invisible solution to this problem. Through our rigorous testing in lab and in real-world environments, we have demonstrated effectiveness on all the key metrics any facility would be looking to reduce, for example, VOCs, different levels of PM. But we don't end there. We also have profound effects on bacteria, viruses, mold, mildew, whether it be surface-based or aerosolized. Let's just take mold for a quick example, and we will actually kill the mold cell by cell all the way down to where the hyphae attached to the drywall, in which you will see it change from that bluish green color that we're used to down to a fine gray ash. Now, you're still going to need to clean up the gross contamination, but all of the cells at that point are dead. And the benefit to having a continuous active technology within the space is that it will then prevent it from ever growing again within that space. Now let's get to some of our foot soldiers here. I want to stress that our portfolio of products goes way beyond what you're seeing here on the screen. We actually have solutions for every type of application, as well as custom options that are specifically tailor-made to your applications. As you will see, we have units here that are capable of covering as small as 400 square feet with a standard 10-foot ceiling, all the way up to 100,000 square feet and beyond when we get into the custom application realm. When it comes to the installation of these units, they're all centrally located, which makes it a very cost-effective solution for the clients and the end user. From an installation perspective, as we will not need to run long runs of copper and have subsequent whips to every device and tying up multiple fuses within the fuse box. This actually is a game changer and a very key differentiator for us. Unless something new's come out in the vertical, AtmosAir is the only IAQ company that offers a dedicated monitoring system that is fully compatible with its internal suite of products. This monitoring technology has the ability to tie into your BMS and work together to ramp up or ramp down ion production in some of our SKUs to mitigate any environmental intrusion that has taken place. Once we've regained the specified metrics, the technology will then go back into its normal operating settings. Furthermore, we can customize dashboards for each client to show the metrics they choose and give access to members that they select, or we can actually broadcast it out in any lobby, break room, etc., if it is desired. Consumables, it's always a concern from frequency or change, frequency of change or the cost of it. We pride ourselves on the ease and frequency of our maintenance and the nominal cost that is associated with it. Essentially, every 2 years, space dependent, of course, our tubes are to be replaced. This change takes about 20 seconds. Quite honestly, my 11-year-old can pull it off in 16 seconds. And it's as easy as changing a light bulb, essentially. The plug-and-play units, however, though, have a little bit more maintenance in it, in which, in addition to the tube maintenance, you're also going to have to change the onboard filter as well. And that's typically done on a quarterly basis, but it still maintains that ease of use that we're striving for, as we never want our clients to be troubled by our solutions. We only want them to reap the benefits of it. As I stated a little earlier, our technology meets and exceeds the highest of compliance requirements. Upon request, Bill or I, preferably Bill, can provide any or all of the documentation regarding each of these programs and the credits that you will earn after an engineered AtmosAir solution has been deployed within the space. Our products will allow you to qualify for LEED, WELL, and FitWell. Standard 241, it's now the latest and the greatest out of ASHRAE. AtmosAir's DBD ionization is completely compliant with this new standard and the pre-existing 62.1. What this means, as I will show you in the next slide, is that you can engineer smaller units, thus saving on the CapEx, and experience huge savings on electricity, thus helping the sustainability movement that we're all aware of and everybody is trying to be compliant with and adhere to. It is worth noting that we are also UL 867 and 2998, something the majority of the players within this space cannot claim. After a successful implementation of AtmosAir and adhering to the 241 and 62.1 standards, you can see the overall savings in each of the individual categories that you and the end client can experience, obviously environmental dependent. But some of the quick highlights are up to a 50% less outside air coming in, thus saving on heating and cooling costs depending on where you guys are located. Typically, a 20 to 30% reduction in tonnage when you're on a design phase for new spec, and a 4 to 8% reduction in your entire energy bill annually. Some people actually experience even more. We can provide numerous case studies to substantiate this claim. In closing, I felt it was important to show you that we are vetted and adopted by some of the largest, most prestigious, arguably challenging brands that are out there today. By no means is this even close to the entire client list, but it does provide you a very good snippet into the types of applications and the clients that we've been deployed into and maintain them to this day. As I said, we've been around for decades and did not just pop up because of the pandemic, like some of the other solutions that are out there, and have been adopted on a global scale to these companies that are displayed on the screen and many more prominent organizations just like yours. Thank you all again for your time, and I trust that this was very informative to you and gives you a little glimpse into what AtmosAir is and our approach to seeing air differently. Back to you, Bill.
Thanks, Douglas. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for joining us on this coffee break. Please reach out to your Long sales engineer for additional information on AtmosAir. Thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.